at some point, people felt that medicine was the way of the West and that it was helpful to mankind and to society. And people started questioning which drugs could be prescribed to individuals as a response to different illnesses and different disorders. So, there was a question on which drugs people could use in the mainstream of experimenting with different substances, actually. And marijuana seemed to be a drug with medical properties, and its active ingredient THC and also CBD, they were both found to be helpful with anxiety and depression. And, it became an issue to people that marijuana was an addictive substance and that people would form addictions when using marijuana medically or recreationally, and the habit-forming element of marijuana seemed to make it a substance that people didn't want to experiment with. And of course, you hear about opiates like morphine or codeine, and you hear about the poppy plant, which is used basically to make opium and heroin. And I would imagine it's these elements of the poppy plant that make it an opiate, and that they use it for codeine and morphine as well, because these drugs, these prescription drugs, morphine and codeine, seem to have healing properties. And both of them are extremely addictive, but the positives of codeine and morphine outweigh the negativities of these addictive, habit-forming drugs. So people feel that the poppy plant is a solution rather than a problem. And we haven't gotten there yet with the marijuana plant, with THC. We have been experimenting with CBD, which is a property of the marijuana plant. And this molecular makeup is part of an element in the marijuana plant makeup. But the drug THC seems to be, people are wrestling with the idea of what it could be used for what healing properties THC actually has, being that it's the active ingredient in marijuana and hashish. And people don't know whether it's good or bad because they don't know whether it's just some addictive, habit-forming drug or whether it's medically sound enough to be helpful in the medical field. THC, and that's the question, is whether it's a positive approach to healing anything. So, and there are plenty of other drugs that scientists and doctors have experimented with to research and find out the benefits of these different drugs, like peyote, for instance, which is a Native American cactus, hallucinogenic cactus. It's used by Native Americans, and it's a hallucinogenic cactus called the peyote cactus. And a lot of people, not a lot of people, but certain people use the peyote cactus to make a drug called mescaline. And mescaline is a hallucinogenic drug that doctors have experimented with to see the value of this drug in use and to see whether it's helpful at all in any type of form when used for the purpose of just experimenting with mescaline, I believe, is to see what this drug does, to see what it actually does and to see what they can use it for as well. And they found that, mescaline is of interest to scientists and doctors, but I don't know if they've actually come up with any actual use for mescaline medically. So it was just something recreationally that was used with hallucinogenic properties that got people thinking or something, but I don't know if it really was used to heal anything in medicine. And drugs like LSD and psilocybin, found in psilocybin mushrooms, I don't know if they produced any type of healing energy or any value to medicine, but they've been experimented with as well to see if they can be productive in any sort of value at all in medicine or recreationally or however these substances may be used. And medically, opiates seem to make sense, and they're still toying around with the idea of marijuana being used medically. And as far as most of these drugs, they are illegal and remain illegal. And I don't know that, without a prescription, that you can get a hold of most of these drugs legally. But I think that, there's definitely a place in society for medication, and these substances could have some value, like I was saying, medically, that may be helpful to society. And that's what the question is whether medically marijuana can be of any help traditionally in society.